You say, Josh?
30.
How much would you say? 3 days. 3 days.
All weekend?
Yeah. Thursday. Yeah, July. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4,500. 2130. You guessed 2,200. Man, you are. Hey, if anybody was our Airbnb specialist, it would be you, wouldn't it? Well, I mean, would you prefer furniture or no furniture?
Hey, I'm tough. I like no furniture. I like sitting on the floor.
Yep. Me too.
Good Monday hour. What day? It's Tuesday. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. We are blessed to have Mr. Moon Guy in office with us today, and you might have some meat for discussion today. Okay, you're going to have this, and you're going to be able to give us words from the Lord. And I'm talking about today. I'm talking about relationships, marriages, kids, people you work with, people you're friends with. Today on the morning grind, before I get started, let me know if you're on here. Let me know if you believe we negotiate how other people treat us. Today's topic on the morning grind, say I'm here. Dorian, man, where you been? I haven't seen you in a minute. Thank you for getting on here. Do me a favor, share the stream. Maybe one person will watch this today and be like, man, I needed to hear that. So how many people ever, you talk to a friend, hey, let's say a friend, they're in a bad relationship. You're talking to a girl and her boyfriend's terrible. And all she does is complains about it, but she keeps going back. She never removes that stronghold from that person. How many of you have a story like that? Gracie! Chris Clark, what's up?
I think we all know somebody.
We all know some. How many of you have been like that?
I've been like that.
If you could go back, see, a lot of people want to manipulate behaviors and they get mad because in their past they've done things and they got their way. They'll yell. You ever notice, like, sometimes when you talk to people, they automatically yell. They automatically get defensive. They automatically find ways to control the situation to win, especially whenever we're calling people from sales and immediately they're roaring on us. How do you respond to that?
It ain't no thing.
It ain't no thing. What about if Zena does it?
That's a thing.
That's the thing. See, we're less powerful whenever we're negotiating our emotions and our feelings with people that we love and we care about. See, I'm a big believer. Me and Brittany don't always agree on this.
So you're less powerful?
You're less powerful if it's somebody you love and care about. You're more emotional. You're controlled by your emotions. But what I want to do is I want to help influence other people's behavior by how I respond or don't respond. So like if Brittany, if me and her are in a fight, and sometimes I might say, look, I need a little time. Because right now all this is emotions that we're speaking, and it just gets worse and worse. But she likes to fix things immediately. She don't like it to carry on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What's the right way to do it? Well, we go to our marital counselor every other week, and I'm going to talk to him about this today. Me and her don't have a problem, but I'm just going to talk about how you influence other people to treat you. Who's here? Is that Weatherman? No, where have you been all morning?
No.
Did you oversleep?
I did.
So I want you to think about how do you allow other people to treat you? How do you get your way? Do you, first off, boy, a lot of people, Moon Guy might disagree because I'm going to put him on the hot spot. Do you believe marriages and relationships, is there a negotiation there?
What do you mean by negotiation?
A negotiation would be like if I've got something I believe in and I feel like you're doing something wrong, I don't want to just say things to you. I might take away something from you until I get my way. Some people are going to confuse this with manipulation.
And I think it's not very right in a relationship. It's not okay to be manipulative in a relationship. I think in a relationship, and especially when
Make
it
sure
comes
you're
to-
talking into the mic, and we need a translator in here.
And especially when it comes to marriage, there has to be a give and take situation, where you allow sometimes your spouse to take over, or she comes up with something and you say yes, even when sometimes you are the one who is right. There are times you just have to say yes for the sake of that moment.
What if you know things? What if you're certain and the other person is doing things that they shouldn't? At what point do you encourage what you tolerate?
I think in marriage is very different.
Hey,
from
whoa. Don't be bringing my marriage into this. We're not just talking about me and her. We're talking about with people. Well, okay, let's get off you in this marriage thing.
You are triggering me now.
I am triggering you. Okay, Weatherman, I wish Weatherman was in here. Weatherman has a very old school way of how he handles things. Like if he's mad at Josh, he may not even acknowledge Josh. Have you ever noticed that? Hi, Weatherman. He just walks right by you.
He'll give him this.
You probably get this. Here's what I would want to know. What's wrong with us doing that? What's wrong with negotiating to get better behavior out of people because of something that you're not doing? What's wrong with that? Because I believe people will continue to do what they want to do for as long as they can get away with it. I don't know if it's good morning, Ashley. I don't know if you got to bring it up, but I mean, at what point? I see the way I look at behavior, and I study behavior because people will do what they've always done until they get hurt, until they get burned, or until they believe, well, you know what? There's a better way to do it. How do you influence behavior? At what point is just being chum and lovey dovey? At some point, what do you do if it just continues time after time to not work? How do you hold other people in your life accountable?
Communicate.
Okay, what if I'm communicating with you and you continue to let me down?
I feel like you gotta be real serious with people.
What if I'm real serious with you and I communicate and you continue to let me down? This happens to people. It will happen. This will happen to you, to every one of you in here. It's going to happen. But what if you're still committed to making something work? I think there comes a time when you've got to change how you communicate. If I don't talk to you, am I communicating?
You're saying something.
That's exactly right.
With your silence.
That's exactly right. So we're always communicating. And sometimes when I don't say anything to you, that's the best thing I could say to you. How many of you ever deal with this? How many of you even are aware of where you are? And it's saying about me this morning. This is about you. Every one of you. Like these little situations, these relationships, everything that you're in, it's something that you can't control or it's controlling you.
So you can control or it's controlling you?
You can control it, yes. Sometimes the way you control it might be an exit strategy. Have you ever been in a toxic relationship?
Yes, I have.
Have you? What was it like? Tell us about it. Hey, you might not know what was right or wrong during that time. You were so twisted up.
Yeah, you lose.
Mhm.
You lose your right and wrong. Then you're just confused.
See, I got Weatherman on here. I wish he was in here with me. Weatherman, he may not say nothing to you, but he's communicating with you. Mm-hmm. And Weatherman communicates from a very old school spirit. Like, if y'all don't fill out your sheets right, guess what he wants to do?
Take it away.
Get your money. Because what do I have to do to get you to change your behavior? I don't think he can communicate anymore. Speak.
No, I think, right now we are looking at relationships or in terms of when I'm dealing with Josh as a colleague, when I'm dealing with you as my boss, when I'm dealing with my wife as my wife. Those are totally three different levels of communication. There are things I will deal with Josh as a colleague that won't work when I do the same with you, you know? And there are things you will do on me as my leader, which if you try it on someone who is at the same level with you, it will not work. So what I'm trying to say is that one has to understand whom are you dealing with at that particular time.
I agree.
When I'm dealing with my child, there is a way I'll deal with my son. You know, my son just needs me to look at him once, and he knows I've already said something.
Okay, well, look, let's get clear on one thing. It does not. I want it to be apples to apples. It does not matter in this situation who you're talking to. What matters is they keep doing something to let you down. So let's take Josh, or let's take your wife. You're going to communicate different with Josh than your wife, okay? But let's take your wife. What if she continues to do something that's wrong or annoys you?
You know, a wife always has some kind of hold on you. As a
Yes,
husband. She
they
does.
do.
Yeah. So
They do.
there are times where you probably, if it is not working, you may probably need to include a third party if it's something that really, really has to be done. And you feel it. Or you just say, okay, fine, I'm going to do it myself, forget it, and just give her that silent thing off. And she finds you doing it. Well, I've done that.
Well, here's what I'm trying to get to is how do you influence to get better behavior? Because at one time, let's take the group here. At one time, it was an out of control Wild Wild West show. Okay, and after all the dust settled, I said that ain't gonna happen no more. So whenever people started coming in here, at first you come in, it's very thin room for error, and as the trust builds, I'm willing to be a little more forgiving and helpful and understanding. But there's a time when it's gonna be done my way, and I got this from Stephen. He came up with this philosophy. I believe that the world has become so soft. And this is so unclear. This has nothing to do with me and my family. I'm talking about how the world today is influencing terrible behavior. Terrible behavior. There's no accountability. Well, how are we going to communicate with people to get them to act better if they're heading down the wrong road? And no matter what the road is, no matter what the scenario, how do you correct people's behavior?
Put down your foot sometimes on some things.
What
if you really need something, like for example, let me give a
What
very
does
simple
put your
example.
foot down mean?
For example, a very simple example. You tell people to be here by 8 in the morning. I'm just giving that as an example.
8:15, but that would be illegal. First off, if I
Okay.
told them to do that.
No, okay, let's assume it's
Josh
a
does it.
scenario like that. All right? Or you're a leader.
Hayden or Drew does it.
You're a leader. And Noah keeps on telling you he's coming, he overslept. A time comes where you have to put down your foot and he has to understand, wait a minute, it's either you do this or it's bye-bye or something like that. There has to be that kind of a thing where you're putting down, as a leader, when you're leading people, you have to have a moment where you put your foot down.
Everybody here is a leader,
though.
though. Everybody here leads something. You're leading your life.
You lead your life.
And that's what I'm talking about. Everybody here, you negotiate things in your life because it's your
Exactly.
life.
That's correct. That's true. That's very true.
You all are leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Noah comes in late every day?
No, I'm just giving him a
Noah! Man, he thinks you're late every day.
No, I didn't mean that.
No,
So I'm not saying to handle these things immaturely because I do believe in always confronting the situations. But I think you've got to teach people painful lessons.
That's it.
Like football coaches, I always kind of get my analogies back on football. But have you ever seen a kid come in and they're undisciplined? They're not doing what they're supposed to. Maybe they get suspended for a game. Hate it. Then maybe 2 games, and then maybe a season. Did that happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to you?
I lost my eligibility.
Why?
I didn't make good grades.
I didn't make good marks. Okay. Well, could have anything happened? See, I think we try to solve the problem when it's too late for people. That's why I immediately want to, when I say fix it, it's my way of fixing it. It's bringing attention to it. Like every single day, you're going to know if I ain't happy with something. Do y'all agree with that?
Yes.
Like you're going to know. Okay. So the way I'm going to negotiate is I'm negotiating from the start. It's going to be this way. And the reason why it's going to be this way is for your best interest. Am I clear on what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you were to ask yourself the people that are in your life that you care about, what have you negotiated with them? What do they think about you? And it comes down to, how do you feel about yourself? All these principles, all these things that y'all learn every single day that I'm teaching y'all, is I'm teaching you to be non-negotiable with yourself. You're not competing against average anymore. You're competing about becoming a master. Do you negotiate your own future? Is it up for negotiation? Doesn't have to be. But for too many people out there, they've become so complacent that they just want to get by. They just want to be good enough. Lex, plus practice is different than the game. I thought about that when you were speaking about changing up the office environment. Man, that flew by. But this is something that you will start to pay attention to when it begins in yourself. The way you try. How do you treat yourself? See, you've got you and you've got this future self. I talk about this voodoo stuff all the time. There is you at 20. Well, how old are you now? 25. Well, there's a 45-year-old inside of you, hopefully. There is. Okay? And it's going to be up to you. How do you negotiate with the 45-year-old? You negotiate with him every single day. Every single thing that you're doing today is making Mr. 45-year-old a better man.
That's good.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you very much. Whenever you're 45, you're either going to appreciate today or you're going to be like full of regret. Von Grafton, shut us down. Let's get into the role play.